Hey guys, how is everybody doing out there in Twitter land? Hope everyone's having a wonderful evening. It is 7:30 in the Central Time Zone. It is 8:30 or 8:35 in the Eastern Time Zone, and it's time for the Daily Factor. We're going to have a special edition of the Daily Factor tonight. We're going to have a viewer's choice. And so what I've done, or what I'm doing right now, is I'm compiling a list of all 222 ETFs in the Daily Factor, and we can look at any of them tonight. Well, anything that you guys request, we can look at, or we can talk about other stuff. But I don't really have anything specific to talk about. I can think stuff up. I can always think of stuff to talk about. But let's see what you get. Let's see if you guys have anything on your mind. Now let's go check the market. Futures are open, even though the market's closed tomorrow. Futures are open, so let's check out some stock. Oh, geez. Oh, that's NVIDIA. Okay, good. I was thinking that was the ES. I don't want the ES to be down. No, it's actually up 20 basis points. Now, that's a daily chart, but I mean, you can look at it compared to Friday's chart. We're totally inside the Friday's range so far. Of course, we've only been open, a couple of hours. So, let's look at the NASDAQ futures. NASDAQ futures are up about 15 bips. Let's look at let's look at Russell futures. Russell futures are flat, up 3 basis points. We'll call that flat. Let's look at Bitcoin futures. They're actually down, basically flat. How about some gold? Gold up a little bit. And how about some silver? No, excuse me. All right, silver is down a point, 1 percentage point. Hey, Chad, we got Chad in the house. How are you doing there, bud? I appreciate you for being here. All right, so let's go get the Daily Factor out. It's still being constructed. It's all right. We have other stuff to look at. We could look at last night's factor while we're waiting for it to be built. This was SPX Saturday night. Spin one from State Street, only yielding 7.9%. JEPI was second, only yielding 8%. But of course, Spin may have only yielded about 8%, but it also had the highest NAV of any of these other ones on here. So even though it was a small yield, it was spendable. And then when you figure in the volatility, it was a pretty good, it looks like it's been a pretty good play lately. So is JEPI, so is XYLD, really, so is SPUT. Now, SPUT doesn't pay that much, but at least its NAV is up 3%. And it does pay something. I mean, it pays about 3 or 4 times what the S&P pays. So, now the S&P is probably up more than 2.79% for the quarter. The S&P is probably up about 7 or 8%. Or the S&P is probably up, whatever this is, 2.79 plus whatever's come out as far as dividends. I bet the S&P is up on the quarter. So I'm saying the S&P is probably up, and I don't know, I haven't looked, 5% maybe, and I'm just basing it on how SPUT's been doing. So we have something called the Diversified Divas, and it'll actually show us what the S&P's up. This is a little bit more than a quarter, but so October, November, December, let's see, or November, December, January. As of this is a quarter and 2 weeks old, and the S&P's up a quarter. It was up 2%. Anyway, SPUT's doing a pretty good job. Look at SPUT. I mean, SPUT and Spin are doing better than any of these dogs except for Chippy. So, hey, VR. Gosh, are you serious? Ethereum's down 6%. I knew I should have put my entire 401k in Bitmine Immersion. Why did you guys tell me to do that? Marcus told me Bitmine Immersion was safe. I put my entire retirement, Bitmine Immersion, double leverage. I'm just joking. How are Tuttle's hedges looking? Didn't you save them an option strategy? Well, let's go look. Let's go look. We can kill some time while we're waiting for the Max Factor to be ready. I think they may have expired, but I mean, let's. This and some of these weren't really his exact trades. This was based on his newsletter, and I put the trade in. So this one, which was a bearish bet on IBIT a few weeks ago, lost $128, but that's fine because IBIT's gone up lately. IBIT didn't crash by February 3rd. Actually, this expired Friday. So, I mean, so that hedge, Tuttle 3-leg protection for next week. If we click on it, we can no longer see the legs after it's expired, unfortunately. So, but this was selling a call spread to, I forget exactly what this was, but I think it was selling a call spread and then using the proceeds to buy a put. That's what it was. The put you bought was the 42 strike. IBIT would have had to crash lower than 42 for this really to pay off. And then this Tuttle 3-leg strat. I think I was just trying different variations on that. But anyway, his hedges didn't come in, but also the market, these would have all made money had Bitcoin made a new low. And Bitcoin did move lower, but but it didn't move low enough. So, okay, well, let's look at this. Expire close date. So, does it say what day I put it on? Yes, Feb 6. So let's look at Feb 6, middle of the day on IBIT. All right, so February 6th. Actually, IBIT was trading at 39. Actually, so yeah, IBIT, it didn't really crash. It dropped from 39 and it closed the week at 38. So that's why it didn't pay off. When it dropped to 37 on Thursday, had this been a real trade and you're actively trading it, that would have made your 42 strike put go in the money and you probably would have rolled it. I just put it on and forgot about it. I did one in real life on IBIT, but I went too far out of the money. It expired worthless. I don't know. I just think the market's going to crash. I've been wrong. I've been wrong so far, but anyway. All right, so let's go back here. Not that. Let's go back here. Expired or closed. Okay, Tuttle. 3-leg put, risk reversal in the Qs. I did the same IBIT strategy, but for a Q crash. But we needed the Qs to drop under 600, and the Qs did not crash. On February 6th, the Qs were at 609, and they finished the week at 601. My long put was a 600 on that strategy. So I was looking for a new low. I usually play for a new low. I mean, lots of times I do. Not all the time, but that's when I'm making a directional bet, you need the market to move. If this was a non-directional bet, then you don't need the market to move. All right, back here. Take your wife to dinner, Q trade. There's another influencer out there. It wasn't Tuttle, but it's not Tuttle's on influencer, but there's another influencer that made the take your wife to dinner analogy. I bet he watches me. And he didn't really, I bet he watches me. He said something like you could take your significant other to dinner with the premium off this trade, and he was showing it. I bet he watches me because I'm the only one I've ever heard say that. But my point of it is, you know, a lot of people don't have a wife or whatever. My point that I'm trying to illustrate is when you sell, if you don't need premium, if you don't need an income, if you have a job, you have a bank account, you have money, whatever, just keep your stuff in growth. But if you need an income, it's the same thing. Then at that point, sometimes you know, if you need an income, you can sell premium and you can get that income instantly. The income's instant. Now it doesn't guarantee you're going to win the trade or not, but you know, you could. I mean, I've written options before, and then paid my property tax bill with it. I have a property tax bill coming up at the first of every year. We know about it, so it's, you know, it's usually 1% of the value of your house, and houses in Oklahoma aren't super valuable. But I had a nice house, and it was a decent size expense. But I would write options on Eli Lilly, you know, and then I could write options the day before. Well, back in the day, it took 3 days for your trades to clear. But, you know, if I had a bill due it on, you know, January 30th, you could write options on, you know, January 15th, and then the money would be in my account and I would write a check and, you know, and give it to them. I mean, that's the income is instant. But I'm always trying to make the point, take your wife to dinner, because it gives you money that you are able to pay a bill with, you know, immediately. Like I say, it doesn't guarantee the trade's going to win. But I mean, when I figure out a way to guarantee the trade's going to win, I'll be sure to tell you guys. Tiger, you're going to stagger monthly payers to, oh yeah, it's not a bad idea. So you switch to monthly, or how would you do that? Just choose monthly payers that pay at different times of the month, I guess. Or yeah, I guess you could do that. Hey, Bond, how are you doing, bud? Your property taxes are down $60 or so. Nice. That's nice. Yeah, I hear you on that. Calls and puts. It's a lot of people don't. I didn't. I tell you what. Even just as I mean, I did this for a living in the 80s and 90s, and traded a bunch also recently. But when I first started influencing, I had forgotten some of it. So like 3 years ago, I mean, I remember, but I had to. But it's confusing. I mean, it's confusing. For instance, there's something called intrinsic premium and extrinsic premium, and I kept getting those mixed up when I first started trading. And it was actually one of you guys. I don't think it was any of you specific guys in here, but I had a commenter. I think it may have been Tom that was hitting me up and trying to help me make my spreadsheet better. And they were saying, you know, you really should show extrinsic premium. And in my head, I was thinking, man, I don't even want to deal with that. It's too complicated. But, you know, because it's complicated anyway. But then I decided if it's important to my viewers, you know, and it's not that hard in any way, but it is hard, and it's just math. It's just math. But if you aren't good at math and you aren't good at abstract concepts, it is hard. In my opinion, it's way harder than stocks. With the stock, I mean, stocks are hard too. You have to study. You have to know the price earnings ratio. You have to know the macroeconomic factors. There's all kinds of stuff to study. Once you study the stock, you have two decisions: buy it or sell it. So you can either buy it or you can sell it short. That's all there is to it. So most retail traders aren't going to sell it short. So you only have one decision: you can buy it. So you know, that's a million times easier just tactically. That's a million times easier. I'm going to start doing some new option content, and maybe I'll make some beginner content soon. Anyway, okay. So Chad said you need to watch thousands of videos. You'll get it. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff out there, but I know what you mean. I'm trying to think something I don't get. Some things are just for some reason, I'm just fascinated with math and with percentages and statistics and stuff. So it's right up my alley. But it's not, it's definitely not for everybody. But I am doing some more in the future. Maybe next week, I'm gonna do some beginners videos on, not total beginners videos, but maybe some videos on selling put spreads or selling calls for, some simple trades that you could do in a small account stuff. So maybe, I don't know, maybe if you watch a couple of my videos, you'll understand. Who knows? But yeah, calls and puts aren't easy. I mean, once you get it in a snap, then it's actually not hard either. But it's simple, but it's complicated. It's just pluses and minuses. The math isn't hard, but the concepts are hard. The parts you don't understand is, and no one explains this, can you cancel the contract? Yeah, okay. That's a great question. Yes, absolutely. So it's not called canceling a contract. What you do, so when you they always call it writing an option. Another word is selling an option. So yeah, you could sell an out of the money call or something. Let's say you have Apple and you sell an out of the money call. That's great. Um, and and it's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks away, and it's like 10% out of the money. Well, after 1 week, Apple hasn't really moved that much. Yeah, if you decide that you can buy that option back. You don't cancel it, you buy it back. Because remember, you sell it, so you sell it short. So let's say you sell it for $2. After a week goes by, it might be worth $1. So then as soon as you buy it back, then you're no longer on the hook. You've essentially canceled it. That's the way you do it. By the same token, let's say you sell an option at $2 and it doesn't work out. The stock moves the wrong way, it goes in the money. And so remember, you sold it at $2. You want to sell high and buy back low, right? Well, you sold it at $2 and it shoots through your strike price, and the option goes up to $4. So now you've lost $2. You sold something for $2 and to buy it, and it looks like it might go higher. You're like, oh shoot, I'm losing money hand over fist. You just buy it back, and that cancels the contract. Now you lost money on the trade because you sell something for $2 and you bought something for $4. But yeah, you can absolutely cancel the contract by buying it back. It's in the same way. If you buy an option and you want to cancel you no longer want it for whatever reason, you just buy it back. So it's just buying and selling. Just think of an option like a security. It trades just like a stock. I mean, it has a bid, it has an ask, it has a market maker. It might be at $2 one day, 2.5 the next, 3 the next. Then the market drops and it's back down to 2. Then it goes to 1. Then it goes to. It trades just like a stock, and you can buy and sell it. Some people day trade options. They think they're bullish on a stock. Oh, the SPY's going up today. Buy some calls, then they'll sell them an hour later and try to make $200 on it or something. That's called scalping options. So yeah, that's how you cancel a contract, by buying it back. You buy your way out of it. Absolutely. It's like trying to figure out arch fanning. Yeah. Are you an arch fan or not an arch fan? Old Arch. Is he back? Is he coming back to Texas next year, or is he going to the pros? He's not really super good. I mean, he started doing better, but I mean, he's no Andrew Luck, or maybe I don't know. I mean, he's no Matt Stafford, or in my opinion, So anyway, all right. So let's look here and see if the daily factor is. I know that was a wide getting off the path. We went from spin all the way to sput, all the way to the charts, and then all the way to the questions. But let's see. Let's go over here to Claude. Let's see what Claude has for us. Oh, excuse me. Just had a big dinner. All right. Here's Claude. So let's sort this by the Quandex. All right. So this is basically the long-term max factor. So these are the best high yield ETFs out of the 222 I follow, and also in my opinion, who's really to say what the best is? Or it's not really my opinion, according to this metric. And my metric figures out the yield, and it figures out the NAV price alone. It doesn't look at the total return. It looks at the yield, and it looks at the NAV performance. Is the NAV up or down? How down is it? How up is it? Is it sideways? And then it also looks at the most important factor, which is the volatility. Other things, if you have two stocks, you have two high yield ETFs, and they both pay a 30% dividend or a 30% yield. They're both paying about a 30% yield. They're both based on the SPY. Let's just say that. Okay, but one of them is twice as volatile mathematically as the other. It goes up and down twice as much. Well, that one is less valuable in a portfolio. It's harder to allocate. Because if the other things are equal, you would rather have a steadier one paying you a 30% yield than one that's all over the place. So anyway, that's kind of the basics of the max factor. But anyway, so here's the good ones for the past year: XOMO, TSMY, Fiat, K-Gold, XLEI, ASGI, SLJY, WEEI, HDLB, Chippy. Well, look at Chippy's paying, well, 35%, but the highest paying one on the max factor is actually number 2 at TSMY. Is that even right? Is TSMY? I guess it is. But everything that's growth and tech is, except for Chippy and TSMY, is just falling off the face of the earth. And all these oil, gold, and natural material pipeline type stuff, his value type stuff like dog of the Dow has risen to the top, but oil as well. Anyway, but now let's look at the worst max factor. Let's go. We'll do the worst ones that have been out for a year. So we'll just do the reverse Quandex. So they have to have been out for a year. COYY is the worst. ICOY is the second worst. XBTY is the third. TSYY, ULTY, MORO, COIW, IMORA, IMIST, MSTW, HOOI, HOOW, SMCY, SMCC, FEET. FEET ought to be number 1. If it was my opinion, I would put FEET number 1, but it's not my opinion. This is the data talking, but FEET is no great shakes. In BYY, I mean, that's sad to see an NVIDIA one down here, but it's a sign of the times. And Pulte, remember how good Pulte was back in the day for a while? I mean, you know, and here's YETH. I guess it's down 6% right now, or Ethereum is. YBTC, COII, YMAX, Snowy, WPay. Those are the 27 worst ones. Then we throw in PLTW, IETH, and LFGY. Those are the 30 worst ones. And what I notice about it is Blocks didn't make it. Good job, Blocks. And but anyway, so good job, Blocks. All right. We can look at the stable dex, and this shows us that I was talking about the volatility earlier. This is my metric for volatility. This is the most stable ETF out of the 222 I have, mathematically, not an opinion. Just looking at the standard deviation, this is the steady one. BNDI is super steady. IDEVO, ASGI, super steady. At least the past quarter it has been. Can't predict the future. And we have Goop, GUI, Sirloin, Dog, HYGW, MLPD. Those are your super safe ones. You know, and it's not like the super safe ones have to pay a low yield. Yes, most of them pay a lower yield because of risk and reward. That's true. But occasionally you get an outlier like GUI or even like Goldie that's paying 16.5%. But lots of these ones that are super safe are going to be the 4, 5, 8, 10%, just because of the risk and reward relationship. So, all right. Okay, he's staying good. Or I guess good. I mean, yeah. I'm not even a Texas fan, but obviously I'm not a Texas fan. I'm from Oklahoma, but I'm Texas curious, so. Yeah, basically everything. Granite shares. I hear you on that. All right. If I didn't have to pay dividends, I would short all of the yield boost. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the dividends are where they catch you, because when that it's guaranteed that the NAV will go down. It's guaranteed, but that's why the NAV goes down, because you're getting your money back in dividends. So, but whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I hear you on that. I hear you on that. You know, and you could try to be smart and you could buy a put in one of these. However, the market makers are even smarter. They may not be smarter. I'm sure you're smart, but the market makers have better computers, and the market makers will what they will do is, if they have a stock that pays a giant yield, like a Granite shares or something, that the yield is factored into the price of the put. So you know you can short the stock, in, like you say, you have to pay the dividend out. Well, you can buy a put and you don't have to pay the dividend out. So why wouldn't everyone just buy puts instead of shorting? Well, there's no free money. The market maker is smart enough to know that people are trying to do that. He'll build the price of the put, the price of the dividend into that put. So, but anyway, yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you on that. I mean, yeah, the ones that pay the super high yields, and we're looking at you, Granite shares, and you, Max, and you, Roundhill. Those are the ones that are just on a mathematical basis. Doesn't mean they don't have some good funds, but you notice, like Max's best fund. I mean, or their better funds are generally a little bit on the lower paying side, like Big Y, like GPTY. Now, Chippy's not low paying. Chippy's an outlier. But you know, GPTY pays 25, 30%. Big Y pays 12. The new 25% target funds, I think, will do pretty well. So yeah, that's just kind of the way it works. But Granite shares doesn't have anything that pays low, do they? I don't think they have anything that pays low. Yeah, no, I hear you on that. Like I said, just be careful. The put's going to be super expensive. And here's the other thing. Well, let's just go look. Let's just go look at this. And I'm trying to talk you out of doing that. I'm not trying to talk you into saying that Granite shares is good. It could work for some people. I had WiSpy and liked it just fine. So let's look at WiSpy. WiSpy doesn't have options. Which ones of Granite shares do have options? What, NBYY maybe? Yeah. Okay. NBYY. So another thing that I think might hold you up is the bid-ask spread. I don't think these are super liquid. I just, you know, bid at 0, asked at $1.55. I mean, you're just asking the market maker. You're just trusting the market maker at that point, not to. If you have enough experience and stuff, you can run a Black-Scholes model yourself. Lots of software will tell you the theoretical price for that option. I think tastytrade does. But you have to do a little extra research, go in and find the theoretical price, and then make sure, and then and then don't offer, and try not to rip yourself off. But when the bid and ask is that wide, you don't know. But that's why I like the SPY. You know, yeah, 2 penny bid and ask, they can't really rip you off that much. Brad bought puts on Misty back in late. Well, that was probably a good play. And I'm not saying that you can't make money buying puts, but the puts are going to be more expensive because they're going to have to account for the option for the yield or the dividend. Yes, it's okay. So funny you should say that. I was just. Look, I got Trading for Ashley up right here. Coffee with Brad. I was watching Brad this morning. Well, she's not up here anymore, but it's funny you should say that. I'm helping a friend learn options, and I was talking. He was asking for other influencers. That Ashley was the first one I gave him. His son's learning also. Him and his son are learning, and you know, she does a really good job at the beginner stuff. I think does a good job at that. But then I gave him S&B Capital, and I gave him another guy, that Lee Lowell. That Lee Lowell guy is really good. My friend's a little bit. Well, they're both pretty. I mean, they're getting started, but anyway, yeah. Trading with Ashley does a good job. I think that's fine. Yeah. How did that? I would figure you did pretty well on that MSTY put. Let's look here. So if you did it in November and December, I mean, November 1st, it was trading 40. December 1st, it was trading 31. New Year's Eve, it was trading 27. I mean, that's probably a decent trade. You got it before the split, too, probably. Yeah. Good evening, William. All right. All right. What else do we want to talk about? Looked at the safest funds. We'll look at the short-term max factor just to make sure it's not any different than the Quandex. But XOMO, TSMY, those were the same. Was Fiat? Oh yeah, we can look here. Yeah, I think it's basically the same. Fiat, K Gold, XLEI. Yeah, it's the top 10 is basically the same. Chad says he wishes he would have held Fiat and Winter. Well, I got some salt that you can have. I'll sell you if you want. Oh, geez. Yeah, WPay ticker change. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. I'm going to close some windows, though. Yeah, Brad had a good, he always has good content, but I watched his, I got up this morning and he was on, so I turned it on. Okay, so, all right, so what's it called? B-top, oh no, B-top is the one I like. That's that Bitwise one. It's called Top. It's called Top W, right? Yeah, it's called Top W. You know, no, that's a different one. This is a Tuttle one, I think. This is, I think Brennan Wood's a money manager or something, or something like that. But they made a ETF after his strategy. But anyway, but obviously that wasn't it. It wasn't Top W. Oh yeah. So anyone excited about Weapon, WEPN, Nukes, NUKZ, and what's the other one? I mean, but I guess those are coming out the 18th. That should be interesting. Did anyone see Tuttle's tweet today? Tuttle tweeted, and it was in Discord. Marcus put it in there. And he just tweeted, I'm working on a new hedge or something. But it did sound like it was a fun, maybe he's talked about like in his newsletter and he'll send out a new hedging. It did say a new ETF. I thought it was kind of weird, but I'd be anxious to see what that is. Maybe he was referring to, maybe he's still referring to the No Bleed Tail Risk Fund. Yes, 2 on the 18th and 2 on the 19th. Okay, so that's good. We have new X funds coming out. I like X funds a lot, but I think after this latest pullback, a lot of people didn't realize X funds would drop that much, and I'm hearing blocks get more hate. I think it's not totally deserved, but it's definitely not for everybody. But I'm sure those ETFs will do. I'm sure they'll attract some buyers. What is it? Weapons, nukes, golden, GLDN, weapons, nukes. What's the third? Is it drones? What's the third? Robots? I can't remember what the fourth concept was. Oh yeah, SLVX, GLDN, golden, SLVX, and then also nukes and weapon. So weapon is defense contractors, and then nukes is energy, nuclear power and stuff. Yeah, no, it should be interesting. you know, I'm a big supporter of David, but sorry about that. Kenny Loggins. What? I don't get the Kenny Loggins. Oh, you went to the danger zone. Okay. Okay. Oh, snap. There's a Top Gun ET. I get it now. I get it now. Yeah. I swear that I saw that when I was looking through Tuttle's stuff. For some reason, I thought that was Tuttle's company that, or he's a sub-advisor on that. I could be wrong. Well, I don't know. I guess I'm getting tired. Let's see here. Growth. It doesn't say anything about income. So the fund seeks to achieve its objective by investing in public companies included in a model portfolio provided by the fund's investment sub-advisor. And that's, I'm sure, that Brendan Wood guy, Top Gun model. The model was developed by Brendan Wood International, an affiliate of the fund's investment sub-advisor, Brendan Wood, or the sub. Anyway, construction of the model begins with the identification of approximately 1,400 companies composing the shareholder conviction universe, which are generally stocks of liquid, large, and mid-cap companies with market caps 2 billion or greater that trade on a national exchange in the United States or American depository receipts. Companies included in the shareholder conviction universe are evaluated based on the results of 2,000 personal interviews, consultations, and institutional investment providers. By other words, money managers, portfolio managers, you know, including large financial services companies and advisory firms, conducted by Brendan Wood during the calendar year. These interviews with the institutional investment professionals are designed. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm reading it to you, so it doesn't matter. But some of you guys like to read along with me. Sorry about that. But I'm just, and it's so hard to see. Anyway, these interviews are with investment professionals designed to generate data that Brendan Wood used by Brendan Wood to establish an investment quality of companies in the shareholder conviction universe, then rate and rank the companies based on multiple investment attributes discussed. So let's just go see, okay, that's all great and stuff. Good job. I mean, let's go see what it's, let's go see what its positions are. Usually that, oh gosh, it corrected it for me. Okay, top W, is this Equiver quantitative? No, that's not it. They don't SEO very well. I don't see, well, let's do it like this. All right, no, that's no good. Top W. Oh, okay, not out yet, I guess. What's this? Do you guys know what this iShare 3% capped ETF is? Top C? Maybe the top 3% of market cap or something. Let's check this out. Top C iShares S&P 500 3% capped ETF. Well, I mean, Nvidia, Facebook, Apple. Okay, so it's S&P. Looks like. Managing about 20 million. Well, I don't know about that one. Anyway. You went to the Monster Jam. They brought one of those through through Norman, and it was at Norman's not a big town. It's a small college town, about 70,000 people. Back in the day, now it maybe has 150 or something, but and they brought it to Owen Stadium, which is where the Sooners play during the summertime, and they put all the the jumps and everything, and it was a monster truck thing, and it was cool. I'd never been before, but yeah, that was cool. The coolest thing I've ever seen in that stadium was a concert, and it was in '79. And there's only been three concerts in that stadium that I know of. But the one in '79, the opening act was Pat Benatar. The next act was Van Halen. I saw Eddie Van Halen play Eruption live. I never heard him play it live before. I don't even know if I was aware of it yet in '79, but it blew me away, obviously. And then after that came Sammy Hagar. I Can't Drive 55 and stuff. That was pretty cool. And interesting, a few years later, he was in Van Halen. And then the closing band was Doobie Brothers, and I love the Doobie Brothers. I'm especially their late '70s stuff. I'm a sucker for that how they kind of switched their sound in the late '70s. And they went to that R&B. I love R&B. I'm a sucker for. I mean, I like classic rock as much as the next guy, but I'm a sucker for R&B and stuff. So anyway, but yeah, but I also went to a Monster Truck Jam there, and also the other two concerts that have been there. I've been to both of them too. The Rolling Stones played there in '97, and U2 played there in 2011, 2010, something like that. That U2 show was awesome. It was U2 and the Black Eyed Peas in the round, on a round circling, rotating stage. I mean, I'm not a Black Eyed Peas fan, and I'm not really particularly a YouTube fan, but they put on a heck of a live show, in my opinion. All right, just reading your comments. Yeah, there was that's my only Monster Jam experience was back in the '80s. I also saw Ronald Reagan speak at that stadium. They had something called the Olympic Festival in 1988, and it was actually in Norman for some reason, and it was lasted for like a week or something. Well, anyway, they had a big opening ceremonies, and it was either Reagan or Bush. I should remember. I think it was Reagan. It was after he was. No, I think it was maybe Bush. But anyway, one of those guys came by and gave the opening. Whatever. They flew on a helicopter and then flew out. Then I also saw Gerald Ford speak in Oklahoma City. Well, I'm sorry that Chad did not have a good time at the Monster Truck Rally. I don't know what to say. I don't know if it's coming through Austin. Something like that usually goes to Georgetown, or you'd probably be up in Georgetown or in the suburbs somewhere. Cedar Park. Cedar Park's a great place for a Monster Truck Rally. A great place. Lake Travis is a good place for a Monster Truck Rally. And more out in the suburbs. I don't think a Monster Truck Rally is going to be that successful in Austin. I don't know. Anyway. All right. Well, what else do we have? Let's look at the market, see if it's moving. Let's hope the SPYs or the ES is moving up. Why is the market closed tomorrow? Is it Martin Luther King, or what day? Is it President's Day? MLK? We've already had MLK Day, I think, right? But anyway, I guess it's closed tomorrow. So I'm going to get caught up on I'm trying to get caught up here in the office. So I'm going to be doing some of that tomorrow. So I probably won't have a morning show. I'll probably just, I probably won't have a morning show because there's nothing to talk about. Anyway, you guys, if you want to talk about anything, hit me up in Discord. Those of you that have my number can text me if you want. Either way, that is fine. Remember, it's not financial advice. Consult a professional advisor for all your professional financial advising needs. Don't forget, you can always support the station at that address if you'd like to. You can also like and subscribe and all that other kind of good stuff. I'll talk about other stuff if you guys want to. Yeah, I know it. Yeah, maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. Well, maybe tomorrow we'll do a Discord hangout. All right. Let me see. Let me try to get some stuff done in the morning. I spent all weekend. My son was in town. I did a bunch of. I got even further behind this weekend. These daggum naked people running around town. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.